From Chris's theme song from his days in Korea. That's LA Guns from their self-titled debut release with Sex Action.
Yeah, man. This is so crazy, dude. It was the fucking middle of the 80s.
Well, again, I'm not thinking that it's crazy. It's just that at your age, at 18 or 19 years old,
yeah,
I think about the 18 and 19-year-olds that you know today. I mean, your kids are even a little older than that.
Yeah.
Could you imagine one of your sons being crazy and out of control the way that you described yourself to be that way?
I wish.
No, that's not what I'm asking you. Can you even envision that?
Oh, but these kids all, you know what? Where we used to stick pussy, they fucking stick fucking video games.
There's exactly my point.
Yeah.
That can you imagine the 18 or 19-year-olds today?
Oh, no.
Going to Korea and having just a smorgasbord?
No, but I would be willing to bet you that there are 18 and 19-year-olds that are getting stationed in Korea that are running absolutely wild just like I did.
Okay, I'm not saying that there aren't any, but
Yeah.
but I'm thinking on an average, right. The average everyday teenager of today.
No, I mean they're not thinking that way, but
well, at 20 years old,
mm-hmm.
I was running a garage operation for Roadway, the trucking company.
Sure.
With 50 people under my supervision at 20 years old.
Right.
Can you imagine the 20-year-olds today doing that?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
I mean, I was in a war by 21.
That's that's my point.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in Desert Storm at 21 years old. At 20 years old for me, I'm living out in California. Yeah. Running a major line haul garage operation with 50 mechanics under my,
your wing.
Yeah, whatever. I'm supervising 50 mechanics.
Mm-hmm. No, dude, it was a different time, and we were, I honestly think that our generation definitely was older acting. Although from these stories you'd never know that. But
I mean that. Regardless of the debauchery and whatever you described, it is a mature action to be able to do that.
Right. Well, yeah, it's definitely a different mindset. I definitely had adult ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Did I ever tap any sandy Arabian pussy in Iraq? No, I did not. I was in Qatar, not Iraq, but or not Qatar. Riyadh, and I was only there for 6 weeks.
Sure.
And literally the only thing I got to fucking tap was my fucking gas mask, because that's all we did every fucking 10 minutes was put on mop gear.
Right.
Because every time a fucking missile went over, it was like, oh, fucking gas.
Right.
Really sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not fun.
Well, very interesting to say the least.
Yep.
I think you have another book or two in you.
Well, you think these sex stories would sell?
Well, not necessarily specifically that, but that also is another chapter in your life that would be very. I guess for people who can have the stomach for that kind of stuff might be interested in that. Who knows?
Yeah, who says the dirt was the dirtiest? I could fucking beat that.
Right.
All they did was wrap their dicks in tacos.
Sure.
Who didn't do that?
Right. I can't say that I have done that.
No, I've never done that either, but I don't know why you'd want to.
Sure. Well, they explained why.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I get it, because they weren't showering and
yuck.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
I'd
like to know, at what point do you think to yourself, what would be really cool is if we didn't shower for like a month.
Yeah. That point has never happened to me.
That's my point. It's just like, who thinks that's, oh, hey, you know what? We should just have like a contest and not shower for a month.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, honestly, don't you get fucking wigged out if you get to day 2?
Yeah, I know. You start to itch and your skin starts to crawl and your head starts to itch, and it's just like, ugh.
Yeah. I mean, especially now that I've got the longer hair. I get to day 2 and my hair starts looking a little greasy or whatever, because there are days when I work like 18 hours straight in a day, and then the next day I just get up
Right.
and get started. And then, before I know it, I'm like, oh, fuck, I haven't taken a shower in a day or whatever, because I don't even leave the house, and I'll be like, oh, fuck, let me go and deal with this.
Sure.
And it's like, I go in the mirror and I'm like, look at my fucking greasy mop. It's like, take a shower, you fucking scuzzball.
There you go.
That's after a day.
Right.
I can't imagine 30 days.
Yeah. Very gross.
Yeah.
Hail and kill caller, you're on the air.
You bring up an interesting point. Not about Motley Crue, but another guy that's sort of famous for supposedly not bathing, Mr. Zach Wilde. Now, Chris, you know him personally, sort of, right?
I do.
Is all that hygiene shit and crazy drinking stories, is that just a pose or what?
Well, the hygiene thing I can't really speak on. I don't know him that well.
Well, I can.
Okay.
Well, by through somebody else.
All right. Well, go ahead.
Well, when Michelle Meldrum died,
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
she had a funeral. She had like a wake or whatever, and Don went to it. And he said that Zach and his boys showed up, and he said they stunk the entire place up.
Wow.
He said that they came in the room, and he said that they literally stunk the place up. So, that's what he said.
Well, I read Zach's book, which is, Chris, I hope your book is nothing like Zach's, because Zach's book sucked. And at one point, I mean, it's wall-to-wall stupid stories. And one of them is him bragging about how he didn't take a shower for 77 days and his wife wouldn't suck his dick. And he tells the story like he thinks it's real cute and we should all giggle at it. What a charming little wild man he is for not showering for 77 days.
Yeah, that's a bit much there. Like 76 days too much.
And the whole book is full of these dumb stories.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I didn't read Zach's book. I did not pick it up. I just was like, whatever. I know him, kind of, so I was like, I don't really need to read this. But as far as the drinking thing, I would say the drinking thing is definitely true. I have definitely thrown down hard with those guys in the past. And
okay.
Yeah.
It just seems so overblown it had to be, put on to me. But then,
I can't speak on. I've never road tripped with them like Neeley has done with like Dokken or whatever. I've never really hung out with them more than like 2 shows in a row. But the times that I have hung out with them, no, there's been a lot of fucking alcohol drank. I mean, a lot. So, but you know what though? Truthfully, no more than anybody else. I'll tell you, the band that drinks the most out of any of them is Sammy Hagar's band. Fuck.
Somehow that doesn't surprise me.
It does because they still sound good on stage. I mean, I've hung out with those guys a couple of times, and when they're on stage, they're fucking right as rain. But man, oh man, beforehand, they knock them down hard. I mean, hard to the point that I had trouble standing up watching them. I was like, woo, that's a lot of booze.
And for some reason, aside from the fact that, every song is now a commercial for the tequila.
Yeah.
At least until that started, Sammy didn't really strike me as being a big drinker, and I think he even said in some interview for a long time he didn't drink because his dad was a drunk and he didn't want to be him.
Yeah. Well.
Way to go off the rails.
No, they definitely go off the rails. They are a party band. There's no question about that.
Well, at least there are some. I mean, can you imagine, slamming beers with 3 days grace or something?
Ugh, no thanks. Lost profits.
Exactly. They probably just go straight for the pills. That's pillhead music right there.
You think?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And it must have something to do with the way they sing, because they don't, you know how like an Axl Rose or somebody would like totally twist their words so they're almost unintelligible? This guy sings in his talking voice. He pronounces the G's and ing words.
Right.
He doesn't drop his R's.
No, he's very clinically sound.
Maybe it's Canadian.
Yeah, could be. Because those guys are all fucking fruity.
I am finished.
Right.
Fuck you, pal.
All right then. Pillhead music.
Pillhead music.
I didn't realize there was such a genre.
I think that might be a subgenre now. Pillhead music.
Pillhead music.
Nice. All right, dude. Well, you found this thing. It's called Black Women in Metal.
Yes. Would you like to guess where I found it?
Spreaker?
No.
It wasn't on Spreaker. Blog Talk.
Now we're talking.
Is it Blog Talk?
It is Blog Talk.
Now, do they go up against the shoe in the same hour?
Well, I don't know. I didn't actually look at their schedule, but I would say they're up against a podcast for podcast.
All right. So this is something that these ladies of rock host live on Blog Talk?
Yes, it's a host and then two special guests.
Oh, okay.
Like Lakeisha and LaQuinta or something. I mean, some really black names.
I thought that was like a hotel chain.
Yeah, LaQuinta.
Yeah, LaQuinta. LaQuinta Inn.
Yeah. But yeah, whatever their names are, they're really, really, really black.
Are they poor too?
They're poor. They're so poor. So black.
Thank you, Wolf Blitzer.
Which means that we have to hate them here on the Classic Metal Show.
I agree.
Because we hate Obama and Oprah because they're black.
Right. Just look at them. They're so poor.
So black.
And so black.
And he kept his job.
Of course.
Because he's a liberal douche.
Yeah, you can get away with that if you're a liberal.
Nappy-headed hose, you're fired.
Right.
So poor and so black.
Perfectly
like black
fine.
and poor are the same. You know, perfectly fine.
He's being empathetic, so.
Sure he was.
Mm-hmm.
Sure he was. You know what he was saying? Thank God they don't live in my neighborhood.
Right.
That's what he was saying.
All right. Well, this thing is called Black Women in Metal.
Yes.
Or black metal, as we would like to call it.
Like Black Metal Ray.
Right. This could be his sister. Right. All right. Let's get into this.
All right.
Blog Talk Radio. Welcome, everyone.
That was it?
What happened?
That's how it started.
Oh, yeah.
It just like plays that music and then it just cuts off.
Right.
No fading out. Just cuts off. Bang. Love that. I love how that works.
Glad you can hear it. I can't hear it.
You can't hear it?
Nope.
That is such a strange thing.
No, I hear nothing.
But
I heard the music earlier.
See, I can play stuff. Can you hear the Tim bumper?
Nope.
I'm not playing it right now. It's very weird that I can play something and you can hear it, but then on other things you can't.
Yeah.
Well, let me make an adjustment here real quick.
All right.
And I'll hang on.
All right.
I'll make an adjustment so you can hear it.
Do I need to fill?
No.
Okay.
I'm just gonna switch gears here, and so you can hear it over here.
All right.
Just
Black Metal with your hosts, Bufusha Quanetta Jones and Fubaquanikwa.
Really? Is that's the names?
I don't know. It's Razor Fist.
Oh. So funny.
Oh my God.
I gotta switch it over to another
cable or something.
No, to another computer.
Oh.
For some reason you're not hearing it on this. Now when I play the Tim bumper, can you hear that?
I heard it earlier when you played it.
Here, let me play this. Let me play the Tim bumper real quick. For some reason, why can you hear that? Then you can't hear this. I'm playing it. Now listen, can you hear this? Listen.
know what? I heard it start and it faded right away.
Did you hear it?
I heard it go tink tink and then it went away.
That's strange. All right. Well, it must be a Skype thing.
Maybe.
I guess. All right. I'm just going to switch this over to the other computer so you can hear it.
Okay. Of course, it doesn't help that the fucking file's 200 meg, right?
Oh, no. It's not a problem. Not a problem at all.
Nathan in Kentucky. Oh, no. He will call in again. I love the Tim bashing. I love that we've made it okay to bash a guy with a fucking affliction.
Well, this guy, he bashes himself. All right, I got it.
All right.
Here we go.
Blog Talk Radio. Welcome, everyone, to our 10th.
just like that.
Wow, that was a stiff cut.
To say the least.
Boy, talk about hitting the post.
Right.
Wow.
Installment of the Black Girl Nerds podcast. My name is Jamie. I'm your host. Hope you guys.
Did she call herself the Black Nerds?
The Black Nerds podcast.
Black Nerds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are amped up right now with that song that was Straight Line Stitches, Never See the Day, waving devil horns in the background. Guys, thank you so much for listening in. This is going to be a fantastic show. We've got two special guests that's going to talk about black women in the heavy metal industry. Before I get started on
the heavy metal industry?
The heavy metal industry.
Is there an industry for black heavy metal?
Yes. Apparently, she's going to tell us all about it.
Well, what would that be? What would be the industry surrounded by black metal or by heavy metal?
I think you just named it, black metal.
That's an industry?
Yeah, it's an industry all of its own.
Okay.
Sure, it has its own representatives.
All right.
Introducing our guests, I just want to make a couple of announcements, and then I'm going to go to our co-host. If you haven't already gone to blackgirlnerds.com, we are having a giveaway. So go to blackgirlnerds.com, and there's a free beauty giveaway from I Love Mimi products.
Okay. It's Black Girl. What is it? Black Girl Nerds?
I think so. Let's go there.
Blackgirlnerds.com.
Girl Nerds. RDS.com. Blackgirlnerds.com. The geek shall inherit the earth.
Wow. Okay.
Look at them go.
Black Girl Nerds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blackgirlnerds.com.
And body scrubs and lip glosses you can select from. So make sure you go and enter in for that contest giveaway. Also, another great special announcement. As you guys know, Black Girl Nerds has gained a lot of momentum since it was published last year. And effective next Sunday, Mother's Day, we are in collaboration with a site with 5 other female bloggers called She Thrives Network. So the She Thrives Network is going to cater to the new black woman, and we're all about showing our authentic selves in a myriad of ways. We have a fitness blog.
They're showing their authentic selves in a myriad of ways.
A myriad.
Nathan from Kentucky, I bet there's a weave in that giveaway package.
Somehow I think this is going to get very racist.
Angel of Death, nothing says metal like beauty products from Mimi. Razor Fist, they're Cleveland based, right?
I don't know where they're from.
I think he was making a racist statement about Cleveland.
Detroit based, Gary based.
Right.
Well, that's the big 3. Cleveland, Detroit, and Gary, Indiana.
We have a hair blogger, a beauty blogger, a political blogger, a relationships blogger, and then Black Girl Nerds, me, will be...
Enter the contest so you can get your nails did. Razor Fist. Oh, boy.
featured on the website for the Nerdy Black Girl. So definitely check out www.shethrivesnetwork.com and sign up now. You can go to the website. It hasn't launched, but you can sign up for email updates. All right, so let me go ahead and throw over to our co-host.
Did they record this on Obama phones?
God damn it. What the fuck is wrong with our fans?
Oh, man. Let the racism begin. Go!
That's what I was thinking, too.
Right? They actually reek of Youngstown, Ohio.
Good Lord.
Wow.
Tonight we have LaTanya and Ramon that will be with us to interview Lena Dawes and Ursula from HearEvil.com. LaTanya and Ramon, in that order, if you guys can just go ahead real quick and introduce yourself, and also give your social network shout-outs as well.
Sure. I'm LaTanya, and I write for Black Girl Nerds. And I also have my own blog, which is sprinklesandbooze.com, and I also write for Afropunk. All my
Sprinkles and Booze and Afropunk. Wow.
Sprinkles and Booze and Afropunk.
What is with everybody blogging? Who reads these blogs?
Each other.
Who really? I mean, how many blogs do you personally read?
Blogs?
Yeah.
No, not many.
I don't read any.
I mean, every once in a while, I might get an article that somebody will post on Facebook or something, and I might take a read out of it. But I'm yet to subscribe to a blog that I look at every day.
I mean, who's taking the time to blog? I don't get it.
I don't get it.
Okay.
social media, everything is on sprinklesandbooze.com. So definitely hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, wherever you wish. All right, that's it.
Well, it is I can do that tonight. And I mean,
who is that?
I don't know.
Hey.
little spaz because we're doing metal, so I can talk with my death metal growl. You know what I'm talking about? Get hype, people. This is Black Girl Nerd. We're doing metal tonight. You can find me on Twitter, of course, for Ravolution. You can find me here in Atlanta, Georgia on 1420 AM where I'm talking about all the juicy ladies issues courtesy of YULradio.com. I know that's so bizarre. Don't worry about it.
So this guy is on AM radio?
Yes. He's a star.
Yeah. Did he say all the juicy's women's issues?
The juicy's women's issues.
Okay. All right.
Don't worry about that. It was just a metaphor, people. A possible simile at best. Nevertheless, let's get this show a-rockin', shall we?
Awesomeness. All righty. So...
Awesomeness?
Awesomeness.
Awesomeness. All right.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Let's go ahead and introduce our special guest tonight. Ursula is from HearEvil.com. Ursula, who goes by the pen name She-Wolf, is a music critic and writer of the website Hear Evil News, the women's metal network. She's been a long-time hardcore fan of metal since she was young, and she eats, breathes, and lives on metal music.
Wow.
I'm trying to envision that. I'm trying to envision how you eat that.
Yeah. I just try to envision this black woman coming out of the nail salon with fucking, I don't know, Slipknot playing.
Right.
Second guest is Lena Dawes. Lena is the author of the book, What Are You Doing Here? A Black Woman's Life and Liberation in Heavy Metal. She is a journalist. She has contributed to CBC Radio, Metal Edge, The Wire, AfroToronto.com, and BlogHer.com. She's also a cultural critic and photographer, and she lives in Toronto and has a personal blog called WritingIsFighting.com. Welcome, guys.
Everybody's blogging and .comming and
maybe we're not doing something right.
And she contributed to Metal Edge.
Guess so.
Is that still around?
Not that I'm aware of.
I thought Metal Edge went under like years and years ago.
I thought so too. It's considering Paul Gargano, who ran Metal Edge, is now a publicist at Century Media.
Right. And Jerry Miller's like long gone.
Yeah, she's probably dead. She's like 75 when that was happening.
Right.
And Ursula to the show.
Hey.
Awesome girl.
Wow, she's got a live studio audience.
How did that happen?
Blog Talk must be getting bigger than we thought.
That's right. Now they got in-studio audience.
Sure.
I'm so nervous tonight, so I'm really excited that you both are on to talk about heavy metal music. And I wanted to start with Lena because I read your book early this year, which completely blew me away. And I must admit that I was completely naive and even ignorant to the fact that there were black women out there making metal music. You know, I was familiar with the alternative sounds from Fifi Dobson and artists like Rez, but I wasn't familiar that actual metal was being performed by black women, front women like Alexis Brown of Straight Line Stitch. So for those who have not read the book, you definitely need to check it out. And I wanted to ask Lena real quick, that are people that are not familiar with the book, if you can just give us a brief summary of what Are You Doing Here is all about.
Okay, well, What Are You Doing Here is basically, I'll tell you what I did. That's the easiest thing. What I did was I interviewed several black women fans, musicians, and industry workers in the metal, hardcore, and punk scenes. Took me about, I'd say about 4 years from the inception to the birth of the book. And basically
4 years.
Man. That must have gotten at least 3-4 interviews at that point.
Sure.
All the black women that are out there at all the metal shows I go to.
Well, that's why it took her that long.
That's what I was going to say. I've been to, I would say the last 20 metal shows I've been to, there's been exactly 0 black women.
Well, that's why it took 4 years, because it was like finding a needle in a haystack.
That's right.
Hey, there's one. Can I interview you?
You think she just goes up to a show and goes in the balcony and looks down?
Yeah.
Looks down for fucking, long nails and black hair.
Is there one in the audience?
Yeah, totally racist move.
Right.
Where's the black woman?
Yeah, where's all the black women at?
Where are the black women at?
Right.
I asked them, it started off with my experience. I've always been a metal fan since I was a kid. And, getting older, there was all these questions I had about my experiences in the scene, and I really wanted to find out if there was any other women who felt the same way and had shared the same experience as I did. So that's basically how the book came about. And then from talking to all these women, some of the topics changed. Some things that I came to them and said, what's it like being the only black girl? What is the relationship?
What's it like?
What is that like? Although I'll give her that what's it like question is probably interesting.
Sure.
Because the answer is not, it's great.
Right. I guess it's what's your experience being the only black girl in metal and whatever.
Yeah.
If you have, when you see another black person at a show, things that were very simplistic to a lot of people ended up being really in-depth and really interesting and really challenging. So it's very simple in terms of music is music, and especially these generations, my generation, the younger generations, we grow up with the ability to listen to tons of music, tons of different music. So why is it that black people are only expected to listen to certain types of music?
Well, why is that, Chris? Why are black people only expected to listen to certain types of music?
Because that's the stereotype. That's what it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I fucking watch a sporting event, the black athletes are listening to fucking Jay-Z.
Right.
Sorry, they're not listening to Straight Line Stitch.
Right.
Which, to be fair, nobody's listening to Straight Line Stitch. Not just the fucking white audience is ignoring it.
Sure.
All audiences are ignoring it.
Right.
Straight Line Stitch, please. If that's what she's propping up as fucking black woman metal, oof. We got a long way to go.
Right.
Wow.
Sure.
Basically started the book from, and it grew from there.
Has there been an increased interest in heavy metal music by women of color since your book was released?
They were all just sitting back listening to fucking New Edition until they saw this book. Now they're all into fucking, Skunk and Nancy or whatever.
Look what I found in this book. It's okay for us to like metal.
We can like the metal now. Get me a Slipknot record.
Right. Nice.
I really don't know. I think that there's a lot of women coming out of the woodwork. There's a lot of women fans who might have not talked to anybody about their passion. They might have just kept it to themselves. I'm getting a number of emails and messages on Facebook and Twitter from women who are like, yeah, I thought I was the only one, and now that I've read your book, they're willing to kind of get out there more and maybe start communicating with either finding out more black women into the scene and kind of creating these alliances, or if they're a musician, if they're a journalist, if they're a photographer, they're willing to take the next step and start working within the scenes a little bit more aggressively. So I don't know if this book is necessarily going to change a non-metal head to a metal head, but I think that it has brought a lot of young women out, especially young women, who have been really reluctant because they've heard, oh, you think you're white and blah, 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 whatever people say. They've been really reluctant to really talk about it.
So it's basically they're keeping their own down.
Yeah, pretty much. Do you know what? Angel of Death is about to get banned from the chat room.
I see what she did.
I'm sorry, Angel of Death, but that's even beyond racist. That's beyond the racial place I want to go to. Jesus Christ.
Luring in the black ladies.
Where she found a gif of a guy dancing while eating chicken is fucking hysterical. Oh my God.
Jeez.
And that guy's look on his face is hilarious.
I know. He's just like, hey, well, so it is.
Big old smile while he offers up the chicken.
Right?
Jesus.
It's crazy.
Wow, is that racist? But funny.
It is funny.
Ursula, you have the website called hearevil.com that you write, and you basically critique and study different metal bands. I think you also tour with other metal bands. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do on Hear Evil News?
Sure. Like, most of what I do is, I guess, opinion pieces about being a woman specifically in the metal scene and sort of how that affects us. The last article I wrote was calling out a misogynist article that I saw on Sunshine Assassin. And,
oh, God.
you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
We don't know what you're talking about. Please explain.
That's compelling radio. As long as they know what they're talking about, it's all good.
Yeah, you're kind of leaving us in the dark over here.
Hey, tone down the racist comments, please.
Yeah, you're leaving me in the dark.
Hey, she didn't dump you off at the fucking mall in Gary.
Right.
Jesus, dude. Watch your racism.
Okay. Well, as long as you know what she's talking about.
I'm following along.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I definitely want to bring stuff like that to the forefront. And there's not a super heavy emphasis on race, but I feel like there are a lot of commonalities in the experience that I like to touch on. So sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say that most of it is opinions, but also there's the occasional album review, and I do have a column on there called Hail of the Week, where I talk about a band that's not super famous, like a local unsigned band that could use the exposure that I believe in. So that's what I do. It's a lot of fun.
She's definitely talking on an Obama phone.
Well, that's what they're here for, isn't it? To do interviews on fucking blackgirlnerds.com.
How long is this show anyway? I only got 20 free minutes on this phone.
Hold on, I'll call you from my brother's phone. He's got 40 minutes left.
Right.
What inspired you to create or write about heavy metal music? Where did that stem from?
Well, I loved metal for a very long time, and I loved journalism from a slightly shorter time. So I figured, why not combine the two? You know, it was a lot of fun writing reviews, but I really wanted to focus on metal because there wasn't as much exposure I felt, and because I knew about it and I really enjoyed it, it was easier for me to write about metal than it was to write about other genres.
Okay. It's like
Okay,
moving.
whatever that means.
Okay. So what kind of metal do you think these gals, these crazy gals, have been exposed to? Because none of them has really mentioned, outside of that Straight Line Stitch, you know, what bands they liked, or, you know.
Yeah, well, none of them, and if they're looking for black women in metal, there's really not a whole lot to choose from. There's really only, Wicked Wisdom and Straight Line Stitch, and that's about it.
Okay.
I can't think of any more.
You know, I've heard both of the guests there mention, I've been a big fan of metal for a long time. I wonder what they're listening to.
Yeah, who knows? Probably Linkin Park. Because they fucking rock it with Jay-Z.
Jesus.
What?
Angel of Death.
What'd she say? What'd she say?
You can't see the board?
Oh, let me go over there. Let me see. Oh, Jesus. What the fuck? That girl's fucking... She's writing in the chat room from beneath her hood. Oh. Good Lord. That's the most racist thing I've ever seen.
Well, it does say that right on there. That's racist.
Boy, you ain't lying. God damn it. People that aren't in the chat room, you are really missing out tonight.
Chatandkill.com.
Yeah, because I'm just going to tell you now, we can't really describe what we're looking at here, because they might, I know there's no rules on the internet, but that might shut us down. That really has the potential to shut this show down.
I think the necklace is what gets me the most, or the bone in the hair.
The watermelon coming out of the mouth.
I think the bone in the hair.
Oh, I didn't even see the bone in the hair. How do I scroll back? Oh. God damn it. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Where did you get that picture from, Angel? IHateNiggers.org?
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, boy.
That's like seriously racist.
Yeah. Wow.
This is a revolution real quick.
Razor fist. Angel's just mad that the Black Metal Podcast replaced the Mein Kampf.
The Mein Kampf cast.
Jesus. Oh, my God.
Oh, that's funny.
If ever there's been a podcast where we could be in trouble for it, this is going to be the one.
Right.
Jesus.
This is for Ursula and Lena. We're talking about it. It was mentioned, but I kind of really want to pinpoint this and dive right into this topic here. Heavy metal, growing up being a fan since a very young age, very misogynistic. Women have never, just in a general, women, and I believe you said that, Ursula, have never been taken serious in the genre. I mean, you go back to, you know, the various Heart was taken off stage in their first concert because they thought they were groupies, right? And if people even remember that they were like, hey, you guys get off the stage. You know, you guys are too pretty to be on stage, like you can't be Heart, you know. And so from Tawny Kitaen, remember in the 80s, you know, everyone was on top of cars and jostling around, but you couldn't get the women to be taken out of the what is it called in heavy metal? In hip hop, it's what video hoe. So what is in the middle? I don't know. Like
Video hoe?
Video hoe.
So what do they call it in the white people's world?
Yeah. A hot girl.
Yeah.
But in the black community, I guess it's the video hoe.
Yeah. So, if you have Tawny Katane or Bobby Brown or, anybody like that.
Yeah. We always called them the hot chick.
Yeah, the hot chicks in the metal videos.
But I guess now I learned how to watch my videos now.
The video hoe.
When I'm watching Lil Wayne or something, he brings on this chick. I'll be like, look, there's the video hoe.
Right.
There she is.
So let's see if he comes up with a name for it.
All right.
What is it in metal? But how does it feel to love something? Like we said, race aside, how does it feel to love something that historically relegates you to only a certain class? How does that make you feel?
What?
How does it make you feel?
It's fantastic, dude. I love it.
How does it make you feel that relegates you to a certain class?
I love it. I love class warfare.
Yeah.
I love being segregated out because I like metal.
Right. What a question.
What question is that?
What a question.
No shit.
As a fan on both ends and as a journalist.
Ursula, did you want to speak first, or?
It doesn't really matter much to me.
Okay, well, I'll just say a couple of things. I think that while you mentioned Tawny Katane, and I remember that White Snake video, Here I Go Again, I think was the song. You have to remember that while there was Tawny Katane in North America, and we saw her on MTV riding on top of a car, there was also Doro, who was in Germany, who back in the early 80s was the lead singer of, I think it was Warlock was the band. So while you do in North America, you've always had, especially during that hair metal era, there was a lot of questionable images in terms of women seen in these videos. You always did have women in the metal scene. Primarily, it was more European. You had Girl School from England. You had Doro from Germany. Later on, you had Angela Gossow from Arch Enemy, who's still going strong in terms of more of the folk or the pagan metal scene. There's always been women performers. So there's always been women out there, but from a North American perspective, most of us did see not only the video vixens that were in the hair metal bands, but there was also the stories about groupies like Pamela Des Barres that went back from into the 1970s, where she was hanging out with like the Rolling Stones or Led Zeppelin and all those bands, and Aerosmith. So, but I think that for me, it never really bothered me, quite frankly. I think as a black woman, I knew that how I was perceived was different than the white woman. So even though that you saw the beautiful white women doing whatever, in these videos, it didn't resonate with me at all. I wouldn't say it didn't bother me at all. I didn't accept it. I thought it was kind of dumb. But as a black woman, they did not represent who I was whatsoever. I think that...
No kidding. Really?
Yeah, I can't imagine that you didn't mistake Tawny Katane for, black empowerment for women. Somehow Tawny Katane writhing around in a white dress, that didn't make me think about the black woman.
Not at all.
Not at all. That's a hell of a statement. Although I'll give this girl credit. She seemingly knows metal pretty well.
Yeah, she did her homework.
Yeah, well, she might listen to it. She's the one that said that she listens to it.
Yeah, sure. But see, the thing is, what I have argue against what her statement was is she was describing women in metal.
Yeah.
But she went from describing like Doro Pesch, who is a performer, as well as the gal from Arch Enemy and so forth. But then she's throwing in Tawny Katane in that, and she's not an artist. She's just a video vixen. You know what I mean? So does that count as her being in metal, or she was just an actress?
Just an actress.
That's my point. So she was kind of lumping the girls who performed in the music videos as being in metal.
Right.
Which, it didn't make any sense to me there.
Yeah, well, you know. In other words, she didn't know a good white woman to be comparative to, so they went with Tawny Katane.
I guess. But, you know, she did mention girls' school, and she did mention, you know, some of the performers, but she didn't mention the band Vixen. She didn't mention, and, you know, of course, Arch Enemy is a fairly recent band.
Yeah, she didn't mention Poison.
She didn't mention Veronica.
No.
So, all right. We'll continue a little bit.
All right.
Hail and Kill Caller, you're on the air.
Can I clear it up for you, Neely?
Go ahead.
Because I think I get what she's saying. She's the throwing in of Tawny Katane and Bobby Brown and all the video hoes, so to speak.
Video vixens.
Yes,
if they're white, they're video vixen. If they're black, they're video hoe.
Right.
Well, you know, excuse me. By the way, the Ramon guy is the one person I would dump out of this podcast. He's a fucking goof.
Well, he's on AM radio though. He's the only real professional broadcaster in this mix.
He's a celebrity.
I would bet that station is some little college station that's got a transmitter, you know, satellite the size of a dinner plate.
They broadcast to the parking lot.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. How do I know? I used to be on one. But anyway, she's bringing up Tawny Katane and such, the video hoes, as just not so much as metal performers, but as just symbols of metal's perception of women and what women are for. I mean, you just listen to those hair metal songs, and you know this, Neely. You admit, you can't deny that basically the songs were just, you know, you're a fuck toy and nothing else.
Well, yeah, I get that, but my point is that she was mixing in groupies with Pamela Des Barres, and then she was mixing in Doro, who's an actual bona fide performer, and then she was mixing in Tawny Katane, who is just more or less an actress.
I think she probably just doesn't have enough women to mention.
Okay.
Could be that too.
And possibly, you know, it is, you know, highly possible she maybe has not heard of your good friend Veronica Freeman, aka the American Doro.
Right.
Could be.
But you know, I mean, I guess you could mention the chick from In This Moment, but really, after that, yeah, they're out there. There's plenty of, you know, women in metal. A lot of them playing bass, yes.
Mm-hmm.
What is it with women and bass players?
Because there's only 4 strings. They don't have to remember to play that 5th one.
Yeah, well, you know the old joke about how many bass players it takes to change a light bulb, right?
How many?
Only one, because the guitar player has to show her how.
Okay.
Kabam! Ting-a-ling!
Ping, pow, boom.
Keep going with this bullshit.
Right.
Fuck you, pal.
There he goes. All right.
All right.
One of the issues with being a black woman in metal is that, you know, there's always you always have to figure out, are you a woman first or are you black first?
Why?
Why do you have to distinguish that?
First of all, if you don't know if you're a woman, then you got bigger problems than fucking what music you listen to. That's the first thing. You have to figure out what you are before you. That's such horse shit.
And well, the thing is that you know, we've talked about racism and stuff on the show, and making a lot of jokes.
Yeah.
But the thing is statements like that, you're the one pigeonholing yourself into a genre or into a group or into a racial stereotype because you do this to yourself.
Yeah. You know what? I never once in my entire life have gone to a show and said, man, what am I first, a white guy or a fucking metal fan?
Right.
That's never happened.
No. Ever. Why is that even an issue?
Yeah. You know what? I go because I like metal.
Right.
And I judge people because they like metal. You know, not because I fucking look at him and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. He's black, but he likes Queensryche. How can that be? What kind of fucking statement is that? So fucking dumb.
Right. That is dumb.
It's just dumb.
Why defined by your
glad you asked.
ethnicity,
Yeah.
or do you
Yeah.
want to be defined by your lady parts? And
So there you go. Am I a woman first, or am I a black woman?
So are you black, a whore, or a metal fan?
Right.
Now I know how to fucking judge the black ladies at the metal shows.
Yeah. So
no.
So but basically, she's the one that you're self-stereotyping.
Yeah. She's the one stereotyping it before we are.
Right.
And you know what the funny ironic part is? I'll bet she thinks that's how fucking people look at her.
Right.
I bet anything that's how she thinks. She sees a bunch of white dudes. And let's be real honest. Black dude, black chick rolls into a metal show. Yeah, you do look. Because you're like, wow, how about that?
Mm-hmm.
But that's the extent of it.
Yeah, you don't look at it. Is that a guy or is that a metal fan?
No, you're like, all right, cool. I mean, generally, that's the answer.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, well, my point is nobody goes, is that a guy?
Yeah.
Or is that just a metal fan?
Yeah. No one has ever said that in the history of fucking concerts.
Right. Is that a man first?
Yeah.
Or is that a fan of metal at first?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a fan of metal who's a black guy or a black girl.
Yeah, who cares?
Nobody even thinks that.
Nope, not at all.
that is always a struggle. I think that, you know, what my book is trying to do and what I'm trying to do as somebody in the scene now is say I'm both. But
yeah, I think you have to go that way.
Yeah, but for me growing up, honestly, I was more offended by what I saw in hip-hop videos in the 90s than I was in the metal scene, because I think that metal is also, it's a very hyper-masculine blue.
Well, you weren't offended by the white metal videos because it didn't really relate to you, but in the hip-hop videos, it's more highly probable that it was, you know, people of your same race, ilk, whatever you want to call it, and you're going, that's not the way I want to act.
If you having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. I got the rap patrol on the cat patrol. Foes that want to make sure my casket's closed.
Now, is she a bitch? Is she black, or is she just a fucking metal fan?
Right.
She got 99 problems.
Sure.
And her metal ain't one.
Right. Jeez. That's just a ridiculous premise.
Yeah, I know.
It's just like, you know, you're the one doing this to yourself.
Yeah.
Collar, aggressive music that was for men. And women have always been there, but it really was a music that was for that masculine, hardworking man. So
All right, hold on.
I gravitated towards the music.
I always hate this argument. Always hate this argument. There's no reason for anybody that is writing music of any kind, or making movies of any kind, or doing any kind of art of any kind, to adjust what they're doing to play to everyone. Art as a functional form of, you know, expression is not meant to appease everybody. Songs about chicks fucking is the 80s metal form of art. It's not supposed to be anything but fucking about guys fucking wanting to fuck chicks. It's not supposed to be appeasing to the fucking women. Of course it was misogynistic. That was the point.
Right.
Same with fucking hip-hop. You know, when hip-hop is like bitch and hoe this and that. That's what it's supposed to be. The bottom line with any of this fucking art, if you don't like it, don't listen to it. No one has to cater to you. You don't get to feel offended by it.
Right.
That's simple. You don't get to feel offended.
Yeah, don't seek it out. Don't listen to it. Don't patronize it.
Yeah, I hate when any people, you know, on any level, women, black people, white people, whatever. I hate when they say, well, this doesn't play to me. This art doesn't play to me. Whether it's a fucking white guy bitching about a Tyler Perry movie or a black chick fucking bitching about 80s metal or whatever. It's fucking selfish, as always, on the person's part to think that everything has to be morphed to fucking meet their goddamn standard.
Right.
Go fuck yourself with your standard.
Well, you know, there's people out there that have this attitude that, Well, if there's an artist out there putting out music that supposedly will give these people bad ideas, well, then it's not good because, you know, it doesn't mesh with the way that I think the world should be.
Yeah, well, you know what? I really don't like the programming on PBS. So guess what I do?
You don't watch it.
I don't turn it on.
Right.
You know, I like all music really, but if I didn't like hip hop, guess what? I wouldn't be buying the records.
Well, the thing is that you don't have that attitude that, well, I don't like hip hop because I don't think it has a good message, and you shouldn't be listening to it either.
Yeah, should I be offended that fucking NWA sang nothing about how much they hated the white man? Should I be offended by this? That's my favorite rap band of all time. And I've interviewed the guys in NWA. I've met the guys in NWA. I fucking listen to their music probably once a week, singing about fuck the police, kill the white man. I hate the fucking white man. And you know what? Not offended at all. Know why? Because I appreciate it for the art that it is, not for fucking the message.
Yeah.
I don't want them to fucking put out a new record saying everybody's fucking happy and, you know, everybody should appreciate everybody the same. Fuck off. I want to hear them saying fucking kill whitey. Because that's what they say.
Exactly.
That's what their form is.
Right.
So leave it alone.
If you don't like it, don't listen.
Yeah, just don't listen.
For the music. I gravitated towards it because it was aggressive, and that's what I like. So the women and seeing the videos, or even some of the lyrical content, the questionable lyrical content, it would just seem so dumb to me, quite honestly, that it just never really, it never affected me really at all.
I also want to add that, you know, I liked the music for the music, but I was a bit younger when that kind of thing was happening and when it was really popular. So I didn't really see that going on until it was way too late for me to not be a metalhead anymore. So I was very much into it, and then later
it was way too late for me to be a metalhead anymore.
Yeah, so ultimately, if she was older, she wouldn't have been a metalhead.
Mm-hmm.
Because the message didn't meet her fucking line.
Right.
Dumb.
And I missed the window of opportunity to be a metalhead because that time has already gone by, and now it wouldn't be cool anymore.
Yeah. Well, you know, I can't listen to that because, God forbid, it doesn't share the same view as me.
Right.
You know, but yet, ironically, everybody will go out and see movies about fucking killing and raping and everything else. And I'm going to imagine that most of these women don't want to be raped. Just a hunch, but they probably don't want to be raped. And yet they'll sit right fucking down and fucking watch Law and Order SVU every fucking Wednesday. So shut up. Your fucking bullshit. You like the music, so you listen. End of story.
That's it.
Sorry. See, now I thought this was going to be a fun little segment. Now I'm getting angry.
Now you're getting mad.
Getting mad at this shit.
All right, well, we'll play it just a little bit more.
All right.
on, you know, in probably the mid-2000s even, is when I started seeing, like, VH1 classic videos with Nicotine and people, like, of that nature. So, you know, I didn't have the option of thinking about it. And I'm sure that as a kid, I probably wouldn't have cared, and it probably wouldn't have made that much of an impact. But, you know, I love the music, so that was that.
Well, I have a
no
question.
impact. No impact.
Not at all.
Fucking song. This is the same argument in a different way as we always have about fucking cocksucker Nikki Sixx and that rock royalty thing.
Right.
You wrote a couple songs, so now you think you're special. You liked a couple songs, so now you think you're entitled to a fucking opinion on it. Fuck off. You like the song, listen to it. You don't, fucking bloop. Next channel.
Right.
You know?
Next
Get
channel.
a Sirius subscription. They got a fucking 100 channels.
Yeah. Next channel.
Yeah, next channel. Pick a different one, you stupid cunt. Jesus.
This is really making you angry.
I'm getting fucking pissed off.
Angry Aiken is rearing its ugly head.
You're not getting annoyed with this?
You know what? I've heard this so often, these arguments, that people are the same, no, regardless of the race or whatever, because they don't have an open enough mind to just like you and I. It's just like, if that isn't your cup of tea, then don't listen. Don't patronize it. Don't buy it. Don't listen to it. But don't be telling other people, well, you shouldn't listen to that either because it doesn't resonate with me.
This is like lowest common denominator thought process. It doesn't say things that are positive about me, so therefore it's bad.
Well, again, it's the whole cross my line thing.
Yeah, well, fuck your line. Fuck your line, you stupid cow. No one wants to fucking walk your line. I don't want to walk your line. So does that make me right or you right, you stupid bitch? Shut up.
Wow.
I don't get a say, and neither do you.
Right.
Like the song or shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know what that reminds me of way back, what was it, in the 90s when the whole Malcolm X, craze was going on there for a while?
Yeah.
And Leonard Skinner, and we explored this on the show, but Leonard Skinner came out and they had their T-shirts that said, "You wear your X and I'll wear mine."
Right. Those were great.
It's the same thing.
It is the same thing, though. Well, dude, I'm not trying to limit what she's saying to just music. I mean, she's talking about music, but I think it's the same thing with movies.
Well, it is. It is. But my point is, with the whole Leonard Skinner example,
yeah,
it's okay to wear the Malcolm X, but don't you dare wear those stars and bars.
Yeah, that's bad.
You see, it's okay to do the Malcolm X thing. And if you complain about it, or you don't like it, or if you voice your opinion on it, you're a racist.
Yeah, well, same with the fucking political comment.
And if you wear the stars and bars X, you're a racist.
Yeah. Political, the same thing. The minute you say that this fucking Obama's a piece of shit, you're a racist.
Right.
It doesn't matter that you can fucking back it up with 900 tons of facts. If you don't agree with that fucking cocksucker, you're a racist.
Right.
Period.
Ridiculous.
Oh, I hate this. Continue, though.
Since the 80s, or as long as you can remember, really, would you say that the role of women artists has changed in the music business industry at all? Like, do you think there needs to be more improvement? Do you think it's about the same?
What do you mean improvement? What does that mean? There needs to be more improvement?
Yeah, we need more women.
Well, okay. Do you think she's saying improvement as in performance quality, music writing, or that there needs to be more of them?
There would just be improvement if there was more of them.
Okay. All right.
That would make it better.
Okay.
I think that there still is hard of a struggle as there was, say, back in the 80s?
I would say yes and no. Yes, there still is a struggle.
Take a stance. Jesus Christ, take it easy on your fucking hard line there.
Sure.
Yes and no. The answer, you dumb bitch, I'll answer this one for you since you're too fucking dumb to understand. The answer is that it's absolutely better. Because in the 80s, you had maybe 3 fucking popular women singers in metal.
Yeah, you had Doro, you had Vixen, you had Joan Jett.
I wouldn't even put Joan Jett in metal.
Okay, Lita Ford.
Lita Ford, I would say. I wouldn't even go with Vixen. They weren't very popular.
Well, but they had
MTV. Had a hit.
Yeah, they had a couple, 3 MTV videos.
Okay. All right, so we can count them. That's 3.
Then, of course, some of the ones that weren't as popular, like Anne Boleyn.
Whatever. Soraya, whatever.
Soraya, yeah. Anne Boleyn.
Yeah. Anne Boleyn. Stop it. The Metal Queen, Lee Aaron. None of these count.
But the thing is, I don't know that it was so tough. It's just that there weren't that many doing it.
Last year, much like we have a black president for the first time, we also have a female metal Grammy winner with Hailstorm. Nuff said. Fucking clearly it's easier now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a better situation. Nuff said. Next question. Next topic.
I mean, as Ursula mentioned before, you still have asshole journalists who are writing.
She should be taken off the air.
Yeah.
I'm going to write a letter to her station manager and get her taken off the air.
Where is Al Sharpton demanding justice? Oh, that's right. She's black.
Okay. She crossed my line using asshole on the air.
This is a Christian show.
Right.
Stop it.
Misogynistic pieces, just doing it to get a rise out of people. So you still have people that have these archaic views. And, I think as adults, we all know that people that hold those views have their own personal issues. So maybe that should not even be discussed. So I think that, yes, obviously we're still seeing that there is an issue. But there's also a lot of women, there's a lot of young women who are really into the metal scene as musicians, as industry workers, working.
They're industry workers.
Everybody doesn't have to think like you do.
Well,
she said straight up, all those people have issues because they fucking are misogynistic or whatnot. Maybe they just don't want to fucking get along with women. Does anybody ever consider that? Maybe they don't want to fucking get along with women.
Yeah, well,
maybe they don't want to listen to women in their fucking music. Maybe they don't want to listen to black people in their music. Maybe they don't want to watch black people on TV. Guess what? It's not illegal to be racist. It's illegal to act out racism in a fucking job place. God damn, I hate this shit. And I'm not racist. I just hate this fucking bullshit like you're fucking owed something. I owe you to be nice to you. I owe you to fucking respect you. I owe you to fucking give some kind of thought process to what you want or what you consider. Shut the fuck up, you selfish twats. Fuck.
Behind the scenes, there's more probably in the last generation, well, since the 80s, than there ever has been, and they're being taken seriously, and they're running things. There's a woman named Louise Brown from England. She's running a magazine called Iron Fist, and she used to be the editor-in-chief of Terrorizer, which is one of the UK's leading metal magazines and has been for almost, at least over a decade. So,
well, what about Jerry Miller? She ran Metal Edge for...
Not black.
Oh, sorry.
She's just old.
Well,
we don't like old people.
Yeah, but she was a woman.
Yeah, but she's old.
Okay, but she
was so out of estrogen, she was practically a man.
Right. But she ran Metal Edge for almost 2 decades.
Yeah.
So.
She ran the juices right out of that magazine, just like they ran right out of her.
Right.
There are more women in the scene. There's even a few more women of color working behind the scenes in the metal scene. But, does there need to be improvement? Are we there yet? Certainly not. I'm seeing
what does improvement mean? Improvement in what?
What are you owed exactly? Is there a quota now? Is this the fucking NFL? There must be fucking black women working in fucking music? Is that what we're saying? In metal music, there must be black women working there? Is that what her argument?
I don't know. And she's used the term improvement, and I'm not sure what that relates to.
I'm going to reach out to this fucking cunt and ask her to come on this show. This is fucking really annoying me.
Well, if she catches wind of this podcast, she definitely won't be coming on.
Let her catch wind of it.
So I'm not going on that show.
Let her catch wind of it. Because, my God, she used that harsh language on it. I'm just responding.
Right. What's Kurgan saying in there? If you're a hammer long enough, everything starts to look like a nail. Al Sharpton has been a fought racism in old Deep South. He did it so long that now everything is racist.
That's truth to that.
He can't see the world in front of him because all he sees is injustice. Real or imagined, everything to him is now racism, some grand conspiracy. He can't see the world any other way now.
See, I'm going to disagree with Kurgan fully on this. I don't believe for a second that Al Sharpton thinks anything is racist. I believe he sees the dollars that he can fucking put in his pocket by crying racism.
I agree. It's an industry.
It is
now that's a true industry. Is racism is an industry for Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and everybody of that ilk. That's an industry.
Clearly, Al Sharpton is the CEO of Racism Inc. There's no doubt about that.
Right.
I just don't think that he just thinks everything's racist. I think that it's to his fucking profit to call everything racist.
Right.
I
agree with that.
Women at shows who are perpetrating the groupie stereotype. And there's a reason.
That's never going to go away.
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever going to go away.
Well, there's an issue because, again, like a woman who wants to express her sexuality in the scene, if she wants to sleep with musicians, like, go for it, whatever. But I always do kind of wonder, are women still perpetrating these images because they feel like this is the only way they're going to be accepted?
Right.
Comment?
I'm holding my head together.
Do you need some duct tape?
Maybe these women just want to suck the dick of a rock star.
Right.
Maybe it's just that simple.
Sure.
Maybe they don't care about your goddamn fucking empowerment issue. They just want to fuck a rock star.
Right.
I know quite a few white chicks that like fucking rock stars. And guess what? They don't feel like they're held down either. Only these ones do.
Yeah. Well, again, these girls are only going out there and having sex in order to be accepted.
Yeah. So what? Guess what? It's the same way at the bar. 2:00 in the morning comes, guess what? That's what you're doing. You're sucking dick to get a fucking ride home. That's how it works. That's the world. It's really not that different. Black,
So
white,
I don't
blue,
really
green,
know,
none of
but I mean, that's what I'm seeing, and that's what I'm kind of wondering in my head. But definitely, I think that you are seeing more, not only women singers or women vocalists like Alexis, but you're seeing women guitarists like Diamond Rose from Tetrarch. And so you're seeing more musicians like, instrumentalists who are taking the role and doing what they want to do. So in some ways, I think that things are really improving.
Yeah. If a chick wants to be in a band, she can be in a band now in today's world. And she doesn't have to be a whore to be in it. But you know what? Every one of these chicks in the metal world that says that they don't want to be all hoary out, they still use it. They still willingly pose for what is the magazine that does the hottest chicks in metal? Revolver?
I think so.
I think it's Revolver. Every year Revolver does the hottest chicks in metal. Well, if you were so fucking down with your fucking self, you wouldn't be one of them.
Right.
You'd be like, nah, I'm not going to be in that.
Yeah, sure.
You have to
I don't need to sell myself out like that.
Yeah, the pictures have to be submitted from the record company.
Right.
You don't. We can use Veronica as an example in this, and I'll share something. I don't know if she said this to you, but she said this to me. She clearly uses the sexuality as part of the fucking package.
Well, I think she said that right here on the show.
Did she? Well, I know she said it to me,
yeah,
too.
She said it right here on the show. We asked her about that when she was here in the studio.
And that's fine because that works for her. But if she didn't want to, if all of a sudden she didn't want people fucking staring at her tits, then she would fucking wear different clothes as part of her gig.
Right.
What is that band that we hate? With that chick and they fucked over one of our friends.
Yeah.
Hydrogen, that Julie Wesley.
Yeah, Hydrogen from West Virginia.
Yeah, that ugly chick that thinks she's hot. Big fat chick. And she pumps out sexuality so bad that her music is fucking immaterial.
Yeah, well, she's swinging around on a stripper pole and stuff in the videos and things.
Yeah. Now let's face it. I still remember this whore, but I can't name a song. Can you name a song?
No, we had her on the show when she was part of the Chavez label.
Yeah. Now let's go a different direction. Doro Pesh has never pushed out an overt sexual thing.
No.
Ever. All the way back to 83, 84, when All We Are was the breakout hit, right?
I think so.
Okay. Even then, it was always the same look that she has now. The vest with the no sleeves, and, you know, that's been her look. Now, she's a pretty woman, and certainly was in her 20s, you know, but never pushed that angle.
No.
And never had a problem in her career.
Never.
So she didn't have to be a whore to fucking make it.
Yeah, well, and I mean, she's revered now as the queen of metal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that's my whole point, is anybody that is saying that you have to do that is fucking too blind to see that you don't.
Well, again, too, if you're a talented singer, guitarist, drummer, whatever your, you know, choice of instrument is, and you can get out there and just blaze, don't need to do that. I mean, nobody's keeping you out of a band. If you're a talented artist, musician, whatever, nobody's holding you down and saying, you know what, you're a woman, you're a black woman who really can play guitar, but you're not allowed on stage. I'm sorry.
Look, let's just be honest and call it what it is. Women use the sexuality as the fucking quick hitter.
Sure.
They don't want to fucking put in the fucking 5 years in the clubs that the guys did.
Right.
And they don't have to, because they can fucking put their titties out there, and fucking ugly chicks with fucking big tits and fucking half talent will fucking make as much noise as a pretty talented band.
Right.
Every time. You know, that fucking Hydrogen band is a perfect example. That's as average a talented band as it comes. There's really nobody that stands out in that band.
Not really.
Not at all. And yet they made a little bit of noise because they pumped out that chick's big tits and fucking put them on display, and therefore people were like, "Oh, look at how hot she is." You know, and that's fine if that's the image that you want, but it's short term and it doesn't last. None of these chicks that have ever been whores have had long-term success.
No, not at all.
And I honestly think that would be in any genre. Think about in the pop world. Is it safe to say the last 30 years Madonna's the biggest pop star?
Yeah, she's definitely ruled the roost for since 83?
And while she is overtly sexual, she's never been a sex symbol. She's never been this super hottie.
No.
You know, never. I mean, yeah, she looked kind of good in the wedding dress in 84, but, you know, I mean, she's never been this unbelievable hottie that everybody wanted to fuck, where it was buying posters of Madonna.
Right.
You know, it was just fucking catchy music and, you know, a little bit of sexuality, and that was it. You know, Mariah Carey. She's fairly large, you know, more ways than one. You know, safe to say that she's never really hoarded out too bad, has she?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I mean, not that I follow her. Celine Dion, would we say that she's been a big star for?
She's been huge
for 30 years, and that girl looks like a guy.
Yeah, she's definitely got the horse thing going on.
Exactly. They fucking rode her in off of fucking Thistledown. Jesus Christ. You know, that's my point though. The ones that have had the big success were not the ones that hoarded out,
and they've lasted.
Yeah,
for decades.
Those are the ones that last. You know, the ones that came out as a piece of ass. Britney Spears, up, gone. Christina Aguilera, up, gone. You know, the ones that came out, I'm trying to think of any more because I really don't follow that many chick bands, but you know, the big ones that came out as whores, fucking, they were gone in no time.
Right.
But they're not going to acknowledge that. They're going to blame the guys for that.
Sure.
It's the guys' fault. That's why we need more black women in the fucking music hierarchy.
Yeah.
So dumb.
Lena, how important is image in heavy metal? Because I'm looking at the feed on Twitter, and a lot of our followers and listeners right now are tweeting images of Jada Pinkett's band Wicked Wisdom. And I remember reading in your book, you kind of discussed a little bit about the rise and even the demise of Wicked Wisdom because of Jada's image as a celebrity from her acting, roles and her life.
Her acting roles?
Yeah, Wicked Wisdom came and went because they weren't good.
Yeah, well, again, I couldn't even tell you a movie or anything that Jada Pinkett Smith is in.
Yeah, I mean, I remember in the old days she did some shit, but the bottom line with Wicked Wisdom was they weren't good. They were given all the breaks without doing any of the fucking legwork. They didn't earn it. Remember, they were on Ozfest.
Yeah, they were on Ozfest. I remember that.
And they sucked.
Yeah.
They were fucking terrible. You want to talk about a band that put fucking black women in metal backwards? That was it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that band was terrible. And that's it. I interviewed Jada for that tour. She was nice. You know, she was a very nice person. But yeah, her music sucked.
Yeah. So again, it's not because she was being held down. It's because they didn't have the talent to sustain it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think safe to say I'm fairly much a metalhead. True.
Absolutely.
My favorite band right now, I'm gonna go see on Tuesday. Fucking Hailstorm. You know, and that's a chick singer, and love them, and not just because Lizzie is hot, which she is, but
right.
You know, love the tunes. Play their fucking album at least 3 times a week. Every week I have for at least a year. Love them. So you can love the music and, you know, and not only be obsessed with the chick. That's all.
As a wife of Will Smith, how important does your image play in your success in being, you know, in heavy metal?
Well, it depends on the level. It depends on what metal you're talking about. And probably Ursula would agree with me that, like, for the extreme underground scene, which I'm personally more drawn to than, let's say, the mainstream melodic metal that's out there, I would argue that image is not that important. I still think that obviously a beautiful woman will get attention, but I think that you're finding attractive women musicians in the underground extreme metal scene who are wearing jeans and T-shirts and don't feel like they have to dress or present themselves a certain way on stage. So I think that's why I'm kind of always kind of encouraging women to get into metal, women who are interested in the music and want to be musicians, because in that type of scene, the musical proficiency is so important. The technicality of playing is so important that most people who are really into metal are going to be more, they're going to pay more attention to how you play and how you sound versus what you're wearing or what you look like. So, you know, that's what I believe anyway. I think that in Jada's case, and this was in the the early 2000s now, I think that, you know, this was the question. Are people having a hard time with her because she's a black woman? Is it because she's a celebrity who she's married to? Or maybe the band just sucked?
There you go.
Yeah, I think you hit that one on the head.
Maybe the band just sucked.
I think she even knows that the band just sucked.
Right.
Why else would she say that?
Nobody had a problem with her because she was a black woman who was, you know, fronting a band.
No one had that problem.
Nobody had that problem. It just wasn't very good.
Yeah, it was fucking god-awful.
Yeah, so, you know, again. But, see, she's also missing a point, too, because she's talking about this quote-unquote extreme underground and that these people are not, quote-unquote, dressing up, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But usually when there's a breakout band that becomes more mainstream or popular, you know, among a bigger audience,
yeah,
they're usually signed by a label or somebody gets behind them.
Right.
And their management, whomever that might be, or the label usually wants to give them an image.
Right.
So you don't normally see breakout bands or popular bands go out there in jeans and T-shirt and play a concert. They usually have an image because that's what the record labels know, that the image is important to try to help sell the band because, you know, obviously for fans like you and I and a lot of the people who listen to the Classic Metal Show, we're doing a top 20 countdown here in a couple of weeks. Well, we can't see the image of the bands. We're focusing in on the records.
Right.
But if they become a mainstream band or popular on TV or, you know, whatever, they're going to end up having an image due to their management or the record label if they're so lucky as to have some kind of a, you know, contract. They're going to say, well, we need to dress you up a little bit, or you need to have this image, or you need to have this look. Because that's all part in promoting and selling the band.
Yeah. That's it.
That's it. So if you're playing in a underground bar somewhere, nobody gives a shit because you're not signed. You're not making any money anyway.
Right.
And that's where the image comes from, usually.
Yeah. I hear you. Are we done with these bitches yet?
Yeah, we'll just play just a couple more minutes.
All right.
And, you know, a lot of people felt that it was because of that image. Like, I think one thing about heavy metal is that there's so much resistance to the music and the culture. So many people, it doesn't matter what color you are turning their nose up saying, oh, my God, you must be on drugs or you're a criminal if you listen to this music.
Well, there is some truth to that because I dealt with that a lot, you know, that, and that's the thing is you've known me for years.
Yep.
And you remember when I had really long hair.
Yep.
Well, that was the stereotype I fell under. I bet you party hard. I bet you do a lot of drugs. I bet you do this because you're that heavy metal DJ guy. And I bet you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, that couldn't be further from the truth. Oh, yeah, I'll bet. I bet you've, banged a lot of skanky chicks. And, it really does fall into that stereotype.
Yeah, it does. And but so what?
It never bothered me, but I'm just agreeing with what she said that, if you listen to heavy metal, you must be into drugs.
Yeah, and that's fine if people think that, but you know what? If you want to bust me, then bust me and drug test me, and we'll see where we're at.
Right.
Authenticity, if you're into the scene and you want to be a player in the scene, there has to be a level of authenticity that you're a true metalhead. So
right.
Jada, in some ways, had issues because of her background. Some people just felt, oh, she's a Hollywood, she's got money. She can pay for a tour bus. She bought herself onto this major tour, which was Ozfest. So because of that level of authenticity was not there with her, that's why she had some of the problems that she had.
There you go.
Well, there you go. At least she cleared that up.
Yep, she's down. You can tell she's a fucking metalhead.
Yeah,
she knows what she's talking about. I like her.
Yeah, at least she's not tiptoeing around it, and afraid to say something that could possibly be disparaging for fear that, oh man, you're just trying to put her down, man.
How could you say something bad about a black artist?
Exactly. No, she said no. She wasn't authentic. She had money already. She already had fame and success, and now she's got a band, and now she bought her way onto Ozfest, and we're supposed to take her seriously? It's a hobby.
Yeah, eat shit, bitch.
Right.
You're not good. You haven't paid your dues.
Sure.
Because, in my opinion, it's just an artistic expression. Like, she just wanted to do something, She's like, I want to do this. I'm into this, and I want to do it. And regardless of her, status, her celebrity status, I feel like people should have just accepted it. Like, oh, this is what she's doing now.
Whoa! People don't have to accept it. They don't have to like it. They can fucking say this is shit. You're fucking out of your league. Get out of our fucking our music. They don't have to accept it. You dummy.
Right.
Ugh. God damn it, man. Every time the one says something smart, the other one fucking is a little black bummer, if nothing else. Fucking so stupid.
Yep.
God damn it. The one makes a perfect fucking point on the situation that she bought her way in, she didn't have fucking talent, and she sucked, and no one supported it. And the other one follows up with, well, they should have supported it because she wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I want to be a porn star, so bend fucking over.
Right.
Because that's what I want to do.
Sure.
It's like, you don't have to support something because somebody else wants to do it.
Right.
Stupid.
Well, it's just like, and I know this is a little bit of a stretch, but it's like these guys who, are always putting their PayPal button out there on their podcast.
Yeah.
Support the podcast. Support the podcast.
Yeah, support us.
And I still don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Support what?
Give me free money. That's what it means.
You're recording something on a digital recorder and uploading it to iTunes for free. So what are we supporting?
Yeah.
What?
If you want to do something that's pay, you want to say, look, I'm going to do this special show for you. it costs $10. If me and you wanted to do that, if me and you said, okay, we're going to keep doing the Classic Metal Show for free, but on Wednesdays we'll do another show, and it's $1 a week. That's our prerogative to do it.
Yeah.
But it's not anybody else's prerogative to pay it.
Right.
No one would owe us to do it. It's a decision we're making to sell that product if we were going to do that.
Yeah. Well, you should support us.
Yeah, you should support us and give us $1
because it's something we want to do, so you should support us.
Yeah, support us here, please. Pay our bill.
Right.
We need money for the bar.
Sure.
That's cool.
And can I just say this real quick, Ms. Dawes? Let me step in real quick here. I find that heavy metal and hip hop, right, both very male aggressive, like we said about heavy metal, and yet somehow, I just want to put this out there, somehow like a Jada Pinkett in heavy metal is never, whenever certain people want to come into the fold, they're not taken serious unless, I don't know what the street cred requirements are, okay? But someone like
the street cred requirements.
Street cred requirements is you have to fucking pay your dues.
Right. I don't know what they are because I haven't seen the list.
Yeah.
Do any of you girls have the list of the street cred requirements to be taken seriously in a heavy metal band?
I don't have the full list, but I do know that rule number 1 on it is that when you buy on without fucking ever playing a gig to the biggest tour of the year, people are going to be uber critical of that.
Exactly.
Because you took a spot that some band that has paid their dues for 10 years can't fill. So, yeah, you're not going to be fucking well received.
Right.
When fucking Wicked Wisdom is playing, and at that time I believe it was Machine Head that did not get that tour because there was no spots available to them, yeah, we were annoyed to fucking deal with Jada Pinkett's fucking horrendous music for fucking 40 minutes.
Oh, come on. You're just saying that because she's a black woman.
And she was on the main stage, I believe.
Yeah, I know. I remember that.
And wasn't that the same tour with Priest and Slayer?
I think so.
Yeah, Priest and Slayer and fucking Wicked Wisdom. Yeesh. That was fucking really bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Drake, right? A hip-hop artist who was an actor, who lived a very upper-middle-class life. He was accepted immediately in the hip-hop game because of his skills. So my saying is that you do start to question after the fact. It's like, did Wicked Wisdom have the skills, which they did? Did Jada have enough skills to front a band? I thought she did, but yet and still,
I enjoyed her too.
The community, right, immediately rejected her like a very small baboon heart. Like
what? They rejected her like a very small baboon heart? That's almost like a racist statement.
That's pretty funny.
Wow.
Ultimately, I'm going to go with a black man singer in the industry that has been accepted. Seven Dust.
Yeah.
Seven Dust has been around now, what, 20 years?
Well, how about Living Color?
But Living Color didn't have the staying power. I mean, they had the big hit, and then they're still out there, but no one cares.
Yeah, but they still, and we're talking 80s here.
Yeah.
They got to open up for Guns N' Roses, and I think they opened up for the Rolling Stones and stuff.
I saw that tour. They did.
Yeah. So, you know.
No, they got some big gigs, but they didn't stay big.
No, they didn't. They kind of fizzled out there after a bit.
But Seven Dust has stayed. I mean, they've never been a huge band, but they're at the same level that they've been forever.
Sure.
And as long as they've been out, they've been able to put 1,500, 2,000 people into every city that they play. Now, the reason is not because LeJean is black. The reason is because they're a goddamn great band.
Yeah. Well, they're talented.
They're talented. They're a very good band. And Jada Pinkett was not a good singer. She was energetic. I'll give her that. She was definitely energetic. But she and the music they created was shit. Just shit. I wish they don't even have it on Spotify, or I'd play some.
Right.
To prove how bad. You know what? I should look on YouTube. There's got to be some YouTube of that shit, doesn't there? You would think, right?
Well, look it up.
That's I'm looking right now. Of course, my Mac is fucking hates the internet for some reason tonight. But no, I mean, that was really what the problem was with Wicked Wisdom, was not fucking that people were class warfaring them. It was that they stunk. I love that, and I love that they're still pointing to Wicked Wisdom. That was fucking 10 years ago.
Yeah, well, that's the only one that stands out, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, no one cares about Straight Line Stitch. I mean, I'm aware of that band because my friend Neil's label almost signed them, which that all automatically should say where they're at in the pecking order.
Right.
You know, but there's no I mean, the last big one, what would be the last big black metal band other than Seven Dust? And they're 3 white guys and 1 black guy, but all black band. Body Count or Living Color. I mean, who else is there?
Well, there just aren't any because they're being kept out of the industry.
Oh, that's right. Forgot for a minute. All right, here's some Wicked Wisdom. Let's try. Want to try Stuck or Bleed All Over Me?
Bleed All Over Me. Let's just do that one.
This is from 2008? No, that's when it was uploaded. This is from The Tonight Show. Oh, come on. My fucking computer's so slow tonight. Don't you dare give me an ad. Here we go. An ad. Wait a minute.
If I were to go back and talk to my 15-year-old self.
Skip. All right, here we go. Here it comes. Slowly but surely. Wicked Wisdom. From The Tonight Show on 5/17/2006.
Appearance on our show tonight, exciting new rock band. They'll be performing in Tempe, Arizona on May 19th. Tonight they're performing from their latest CD. Please welcome Wicked Wisdom.
All right, do you hear anything there at all that fucking separates it from anything?
Not at all. Hey, Ellen Kill Caller, you're on the air.
You know, the Wicked Wisdom is just like, remember when Garth Brooks had that alter ego that was supposed to be a rock star called Chris Gaines?
Right.
Yeah.
And nobody bought it. It's just the same thing because people thought he was guessing all along, and they didn't. He was just, you know, it was just a hobby for him. And it's the same with Jada Pinkett. She didn't need to do it. Maybe she, you know, maybe she liked Guns N' Roses in the 80s and thought, oh, maybe I can do that. But now that she's married to Will Smith and, you know, doesn't have to work at a real job all day, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll make a band.
Yeah. Well,
It's just like the one girl said, it's just a lack of authenticity.
Yep. Well, and look at what she did. Since she couldn't make it, now she's pimping her kids out to do it.
That's right. Not a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
She gave it up on, you know, because it was just like her summer vacation or something.
Mm-hmm.
Ozfest was her summer camp for grown-ups. It was like rock fantasy camp, only it cost, you know, twice as much.
Right.
As far as other black bands, aren't there some black guys in Killswitch Engage?
Used to be, but not anymore.
I was gonna say I don't know any, you know, white guys under, you know, 60 named Howard.
Yeah, but he's not in the band anymore, so.
And God forbid broke up.
Yeah, now that was a great band.
Oh hell yes.
Love them.
Well, I just heard they were run out of the industry. That's all I know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, brothers ain't shit, right?
Right.
Jesus.
All right, I'm out.
All right, hail and kill.
Good Lord. I don't want to hear no more Jada Pinkett. Fuck that. Fucking terrible.
Well, I think we ought to wrap it up.
Good. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you what, you know, that whole argument about, you know, what this whole topic was about, the whole, you know, there's no black women in metal. Well, again, it's not because somebody's keeping them out. It's just that there's just not been an interest in that at all.
Well, and the truth is, there's just not a talent for it.
That's my point. There hasn't been anybody who's maybe attempted to get into into that music genre who is a black woman who's a standout player.
Yeah. I mean, if there was, believe me, they would support it.
Well, remember when what's that guitarist, black guitarist? He was real popular in the
not McAlpine?
No. He popped more just straight ahead rock. What's his name? Guitarist guy.
A black guitarist?
Yeah, he's in just Are You Going My Way?
Lenny Kravitz.
Lenny Kravitz, okay. Lenny Kravitz was huge.
Sure.
For well, he still is, but I mean, there was a run there for about 3 years where he was like all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that everybody was, talking about was his drummer. Remember her?
Yeah. Sure.
She had the big afro thing going on, and whatever. But everybody was commenting on the drummer.
Yeah, sure.
So again, this goes back to the talent thing.
Right.
If you're a talented musician, it really doesn't matter what your race or color or whatever it is. It's just like if you're a standout performer, nobody's going to keep you out of that genre because you're not the right color, or nobody's going to say, "Wow, what's that black woman doing in heavy metal?"
Sure. And what's funny is that Lenny himself, when he first came out, he was regarded as the same as Jada Pinkett. As fucking not really being a talent, but because his mom was famous.
Right.
That's why he was there, because his mom was Helen Willis from the Jeffersons.
Right.
And you remember that when Lenny first came out, people were like, just fucking getting some acclaim because his mom was famous.
Yeah.
But Lenny was so goddamn talented. And I'll tell you what, I am the biggest Lenny Kravitz fan ever. I think that guy is one of the top 5 most talented musicians ever.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Sure.
And but he had to fight through that and was able to.
But he proved it though. He proved it and he stayed with it.
Well, that's the difference between him and Jada Pinkett. Jada Pinkett sucked and ran away when everybody told her she sucked. So she ran away and quit. Lenny Kravitz fought through it. And I'll be honest, that first Lenny album, not so good. But man, did he find his stride after that.
Yeah, he did. He was very, very popular he had probably a good 4 years there. He was like at the top of the heap.
Dude, his greatest hits album has, I think, 16 tracks on it. You'll know every one of them.
Yeah, of course.
He was fucking huge and great. And I know it's not metal, but he's fucking good.
Sure. But it just goes to show you but he was playing rock and roll, I guess, if you want to term it something, rock.
Yep, exactly. Good call, Kurgan. Phil Lynott.
Yeah.
Great call.
Yeah, but he's not a woman.
Yeah, true. But, he's not alive either. Well, this has been a show, dude.
It has.
We had racism. We had necrophilia. We had, what you would allow to happen to your dead body for money. We really dug deep tonight, figuratively and literally.
Yeah, it was all over the place.
We had my Korean porn escapades.
What do you think we're going to get either hit some hate mail this week or some, dude, I can't believe you guys talked about that.
Oh, yeah. There'll be some ugly mail this week.
Yeah, there will be a few.
There's no question we're going to get that we're racist.
Well, again, it's, dude, we're doing something we love. You should just support us, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to get some of that. We're definitely going to get that I'm a pig. Because every time I fucking tell my stories, fucking the chicks that listen fucking send me the hate.
Right.
So that's fine. And, whatever. And
it's just bound to happen.
Mm-hmm. And then God knows what we're going to get off of the fucking, what would you let them do to you for $3,000?
Right. Knowingly.
Holy shit, that was fucking fun. This whole show has been fun tonight. Last week, not so much. This week,
well, I think maybe you're a little more awake this week.
Yeah, I'm definitely more awake this week. And you know what? 2 weeks in a row, I haven't drank.
Well, there you go.
Not even not one beer tonight.
Wow.
Just being a little bit sharper.
Sure.
A little tiny bit.
Yep. All right. Well, it's been a good show.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it.
Kurgan, we have to support them. They're entitled to our support.
Exactly. you keep beating that drum there, Kurgan. Support the show.
Yeah. Keep on it, Kurgan.
Right, because we deserve it.
Support the Korean sex workers. They deserve our support.
Right.
Jesus.
Yep.
I think I might have given too much information tonight.
Well, it's all in the promotion of the book.
Oh, that's it.
Promote.
Yeah, well, people should buy the book. People are buying the book, though. By the way, thank you to everybody. I had a sale right before the show. Girl Janine that was in the chat room.
Right.
Let me see if my internet will load fast because her fucking dedication. We got to do this next week with the dedication.
Yeah. You should be able to have accumulated enough you can share.
Oh, I have at least 10 now that are just fucking hysterical.
Nice.
You know, it's. I mean, a lot of them are hail and kill and shit like that. But you know, where's this one here? Is this her? Yeah. Personalized 2. It comes in and it says what they ordered, which obviously I'm only selling the book. Signed by me, yes or no? Yes. Personalized 2. My paint chip eating little bummer Janine.
Oh, nice. There's a chick who gets it, huh?
Yeah. But that's what she wants fucking on her book.
Oh, boy.
You know how fun it's going to be signing these fucking books?
You'll be cracking up.
I will be having a ball, man. I might just do, you know what? I'm thinking that there's a real chance that the day that I do sign the books and get them ready, maybe I'll do those. Maybe me and you will do like a special broadcast.
Like do it on the air?
Yeah, I'll do it on the air and we'll talk and just talk about the book and shit.
Sure. We can do that.
I'm thinking we might want to do that because the dedications.
Well, that one's going to cost $5 though if you want to listen to that one.
That's right. The PayPal will be up shortly.
Yeah.
You know, we will put the PayPal link up there shortly, and you guys can donate if you want.
Right.
You can either pay $5 to listen to it, or if you buy a book, we'll give that to you for free.
Sure.
How's that for a deal?
There you go.
Stupid.
Support the show. Support the show, man.
Money, man.
Yeah. Press that PayPal link and use all those links.
Yeah.
In the show notes.
Please support our hobby.
Yeah. Use all the links in the show notes.
That's right. And don't forget to buy your next domain name from GoDaddy.
Right.
Code word CMS. Idiots.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Well, I thought I'd close out the show here with something that I think is very appropriate.
Okay.
Given the stories that were told tonight and, your book coming out soon and all that.
All right. So it's not Paint It Black.
No.
All right.
I thought I would play our good friend Nader.
Okay.
Ride You Through the Night.
Yeah. There we go.
All right. Well, let's get out of here. I appreciate everybody who's tuned in and become part of the show tonight and all the great comments in the chat room. Hopefully
that worked out okay, don't you think?
I did see only one ugly comment.
Who said that?
I think Sheer Tab said, "This fucking sucks."
Okay, well, tough.
I think he was not happy with it.
Oh, tough. Well, he can go back to Pal Talk.
Right.
We won't be there, but he can go there.
Sure. All right, well, let's get out of here. And we'll be back next Saturday. We'll do this all over again. So this is Neeley along with my very good friend
Chris Hagan.
We're out of here.
Bye, kiddies.